We are a little under 2 weeks away from the Switch 2's launch, and one question's been on my mind, which is, should you be excited for the Nintendo Switch 2? And in my opinion, yes, you should be. And then also, it really also depends on who you are. If you're not buying it, then you're probably not super duper excited about it, but maybe you're excited about seeing how it goes, or just something that's different than the kind of nothingness that's been going on with PlayStation, Xbox, and even Nintendo before the announcement of the Switch 2. But let's discuss why you should be excited about the Switch 2. And the number one thing that is on my list right now is the graphics. The graphical upgrade, whether people choose to believe it or not, is very significant for a company as stingy and as strict as Nintendo when it comes to innovating on their graphics. Leaping to 4K is a huge deal. I expected probably 2K most, but then again, probably wasn't too apt in this stuff before the Switch 2 Direct. But them leaping to 4K is a huge thing, not or just for Nintendo. For the entire industry, it's kind of standard, but for Nintendo, this is a big deal. And seeing these games in 4K might be a big selling point for the Switch 2, and eventually will turn the tide on some of people's hatred towards the console, because again, 4K will change many minds about the entire console experience. Because I mean, if you go from the Wii to the Wii U, there was a massive difference. This is Nintendo's first major graphical upgrade in what, we're approaching like 10 years now, or well over 10 years. So that is a huge thing for the Switch 2. Now, one thing that might lead people to not be very excited about this is the price, because the price is still pretty hefty at $450 US, which is kind of crazy. $500 for the actual bundle that you should be getting, which is the Mario Kart World one. But in my personal opinion, I used to think that the prices were ridiculous, and I mean, to an extent they are, but that's just kind of how inflation is at this moment in time. But if you boil down the costs from the bundle to the for the actual like games, Mario Kart World is $50 US in the bundle. I'm not kidding. It is $50 US. It is cheaper here in Canada as well. It's about 70 Canadian dollars if you buy it in the bundle. And I went down to GameStop and I don't care if it's digital. I'm buying that no matter what, because we are saving a tremendous amount of money with that. It's cheaper than I spent on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's how good a deal that bundle is. You should grab it 100%. Even if you're not really looking for Mario Kart World, it's probably a best bet, because you're getting probably one of the biggest Nintendo games, the biggest Nintendo game of the year at least. I'd probably hedge a bet that you're not going to get a bigger one than Mario Kart this year. So that is a huge deal. If you're planning on getting a Switch 2, that is a good thing. And who knows, maybe the price will eventually go down. I don't know. I haven't been following too much of the tariff situation, but the price could very much decrease maybe as soon as Black Friday. That might be a little ambitious given that this is Nintendo that we're talking about, but I mean, with how crazy things have been, maybe the accessories will go down by their increased price. Because if you don't remember, the tariffs caused the prices of the accessories to increase as much as $10 in the case of the dock. So maybe those will go down. Who knows? There is a lot of moving parts in this situation, and that could very much be a factor here. Now, we move on to the games as well. We've already discussed Mario Kart, but what else is coming up? Well, we've got a Donkey Kong Bananza, a 3D Donkey Kong game. For the first time since the N64, we have got a 3D Donkey Kong game coming out about a month and a half after the Switch 2's launch, which is a huge thing. Having a 3D Mario, I believe, would have probably been the wrong decision. If you're releasing Donkey Kong Bananza, people are going to be much more on board with getting it, rather than you releasing it a little bit after a 3D Mario game, because you're going to have these two inadvertently competing against each other. And it's just not going to be an ideal situation for Donkey Kong Bananza. But we've got that game coming out. We've got a Nintendo Direct rumored for June. So that would be a huge thing for them. If it were to be true, now Nintendo Direct rumors go all over the place. Let's not pretend like we know what's gonna happen here, but if a Direct happens, that would be very big for the Switch 2, because we would learn more about upcoming games. We still don't know what's coming out in the holiday season, which they do need to do something for. We've got Kirby Air Riders, we've got Metroid Prime, we've got a bunch of other games that are slated to come out this year and a little bit beyond. There's also the Switch 2 edition updates, which we've received quite a few confirmations, even games that are just receiving free upgrade packs like Odyssey, the Game Boy Advance remakes of the Zelda games. There's a lot of games that are going to just run and look better on the Switch 2. Not to mention the entire idea of backwards compatibility with the Switch 1 on Switch 2 is again, huge selling feature. If you don't have a Switch, this is the best time to get into Nintendo gaming and whatever, because you're gonna have a huge library, over 100 Nintendo first-party games, as well as a multitude of third-party games. No matter how well they run, it's still nice to have them portably. Maybe not so when you've got like the Steam Deck or any other handheld devices, but if you're looking for something with Nintendo first-party games and something that may not run as well but has those games, it could very much be worth your money to buy. So I'm excited for that. Game chat is a divisive one. Some people are like, it's gonna be bad. It's to Discord clone, and you know what? I completely agree with every single one of those sentiments. Nintendo really didn't inspire a lot of confidence with their game chat feature, especially with the laggy performance. But again, this is a company that is notorious for doing everything the wrong way when it comes to the most modern things, such as voice chat being the leading example, graphics also being probably a close second, but it's more justifiable than having a phone app as your voice chat machine. That still makes no sense why Nintendo did that. Nintendo Switch could have been perfect, bro. Could have been perfect out of the box, but Nintendo appears to be remedying that with the Pro Controller, the built-in mic on the Switch 2 console itself, and given that they are also doing mouse controls, maybe we will be able to plug in our own microphones to the Switch 2 directly so that we don't have to deal with the, that was a bad race, but we don't have to deal with the Switch 2's mic potentially not being up to snuff with everything else. We've got a lot to look forward here, a lot to look forward to here. The fact that we've just got new hardware in general, that is a huge positive. You can't really shake the fact that you've got to be excited to at least see how the Switch 2 looks once you finally get it in your hands. It's definitely going to be a huge W to actually get that in there. I see one of my viewers join the lobby. W Scotty in the chat, bro. W Scotty. But it's going to be nice to actually get it in your hands and to run all of those tests. The other thing that I am personally excited for, not necessarily to do with the Switch 2 hardware, but the GameCube controller. I'm very excited to get my hands on something like that because I grew up playing Smash Brothers on the Wii U with one of those like Hori controllers that you plug into the Wii remote, and that used to be my main controller, and I even bought like one of the adapters, but it's nice to actually have one that's wireless and portable, and you don't have to lug around a bunch of wires just to freaking use another, like a GameCube controller. So it's going to be really fun to use that as well, and hopefully it works with the majority of Switch 2 games. But even if it doesn't, just playing Smash Ultimate and maybe Melee on the GameCube Switch Online expansion pass thing would be awesome. It would be really cool to see Melee re-released. And that also, it's another thing. GameCube games coming out on Switch 2. This could also open the door to maybe Wii and DS games coming over in the form of a Switch Online app. That would be huge. Huge, and the Switch 2 could absolutely support that level of maintenance and whatnot. If you added Wii games, there would be a lot of people who would probably bite the bullet and buy that expansion pass. Me being one of them, because Who's gonna say no to playing Mario Galaxy 2 portably when it should have been included in that frickin' 3D All-Stars thing? But who is going to say no to playing the Wii's catalog of games on the Switch 2? Absolutely no one. Absolutely no one. So it opens the door for a lot more just graphical upgrades. It really just does. The menu is something that people are not nearly as excited for. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm in the middle on it because I love the quirkiness and just the personality that Nintendo poured into menus like the Wii U menu and the Wii and all of that. And was kind of disappointed when they kind of abandoned that on the Switch 1. But I almost understand why Nintendo is doing the same thing again. Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And given that the Switch 2's battery is bad, let's just put it that way, it's terrible. They're not gonna want a menu with too much added extra features and things that are going to help drain that battery. Even something as simple as a menu theme requires memory and power to actually play. So potentially that could limit the battery. Nintendo looked to have done the bare minimum with the menu, and I can almost understand why, to an extent. I mean, I'm still disappointed, but I can almost understand. I'm not trying to justify it, but that's just what I think happened with that. And of course, just the overall excitement of a new console generation ahead of us. This is going to be Nintendo's biggest generation to date, because it's probably going to make or break the Switch brand and even Nintendo selling consoles as a whole. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the comments below if you're excited for the Switch 2. If not, please feel free to give your opinions on that. And yeah, thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.